4, 3, 2, 1. Recently, there's been a wave of new age companies listing in India's stock market. And my friend, like many of us, thought it would be a good way to make some quick money. He chose a company. Things seemed great on paper. Strong order book, great financials, promising grey market premium. He was convinced. He invested 10 lakh rupees in the company's IPO. He got an allotment at the issue price of 76. The stock listed at 91, a 20% gain. He didn't sell. Why would he? This was just the beginning. The stock climbed up to 157 rupees. His 10 lakh had now become more than 15 lakh rupees. On paper though. But today, the same stock trades at 41 rupees. His 10 lakh rupees is now less than 5 lakh rupees. Can you guess the company? More on that later. But this is not just a story of my friend. This is the story of a system where companies prop up their financials just before IPOs, where order books are dressed up to look healthier than they are, where founders and early investors cash out billions, while retail investors like my friend are left holding the bag. When we started digging into this story, we found something uncomfortable. 63% of all IPO money raised in India didn't go to the companies. It went to existing shareholders who were trying to cash out. Half of all the main board IPOs are now trading below their issue price. Stick around because this video of FinShots TV is a deep dive investigation into India's IPO markets and how this system is designed to game you, the retail investor. FinShots TV is now a part of Zerodha01 network, and together we plan on bringing you stories that impact your day-to-day lives, sometimes without you realizing it. So do consider liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to our channel. Alright, let's first get into the performance of companies who have recently listed in the stock market. Here are some of the biggest IPOs from late 2024 and 2025. Swiggy listed at Rs 390. It peaked at 617 in December last year, but today it trades at around 326 rupees. That's close to its all-time lows. A 47% crash from its peak. 40,000 crores of investor wealth gone. Then there's Ola Electric. It was listed at around 76 rupees. This is exactly the stock in which my friend invested. Now it's at around 41 rupees, down over 45% from its IPO price. Then there's the case of PhysicsWallah, listed with a 33% pop. But just 1 week later, 12,000 crores in market cap vanished and the stock fell over 15%. It's not just the new age companies. Take the case of Tata Capital, one of the most hyped up IPOs of the year. 15,500 crores were raised, but the stock listed flat. It's now trading slightly below issue price. Even Lenskart listed at a discount of 3% since listing day. Or talk about Urban Company, much hyped, much adored IPO, down 27% since its all-time high. Now, if you're thinking, okay, some IPOs fall, that's normal. You're right. Not every IPO can be a winner. But here's what's not normal. The people who bought these companies to the market, they made a killing in this. The people who bought on listing day or through retail applications, they're holding their losses. Let me explain. You see, in an IPO, there are two types of money that can be raised. One is fresh issue. Fresh issue is the money, all of which is raised and goes directly to the company. This money can be used for expansion, paying off debt, building new factories, etc. Then there's offer for sale. In the case of offer for sale, existing shareholders, this can include founders, early backers, PE funds, they sell their shares to the public. This money doesn't go to the company. It goes straight to the pocket of these people. In 2015, 63% of all IPO proceeds came from offer for share, not fresh issues, offer for sale. Let me give you some specific examples. LG Electronics India division IPO'd. They raised over 11,000 crores. 100% offer for sale. Not a single rupee went to the company. The entire IPO was just its Korean parent selling its stake to the Indian markets. WeWork India, 3,000 crore rupees raised, 100% offer for sale. Even marquee IPOs like Tata Capital and Lenskart had offer for sale components of 50 to 70%. So when you apply for these IPOs thinking you're investing in a company's growth story, you're actually just buying out the shares of someone who wants to sell. And who are these sellers? Let's look at the example of Ola Electric again to understand. Matrix Partners, which is now known as Z47, invested in Ola Electric at the price of 8 rupees per share. At the IPO, the price was 76 rupees. They made over 9 times in return. Meanwhile, retail investors like my friend who bought at 76, they are sitting at losses. This is not by accident. This is the system working exactly as it's designed. FirstCry has the same story. Snapdeal's parent company bought shares at around 23 rupees and sold at the time of the IPO at 465 rupees, a 20 times return. In the same company, Mahindra & Mahindra got in at the price of around 78 and exited again at around 465 rupees. Today, FirstCry trades below its IPO price. Retail investors are underwater. Early investors are counting their crores. See, there's another trick that happens before the IPO even opens. Companies going public want to look as good as possible. Higher revenue, better margins, stronger growth. Because better numbers mean much higher valuations, which means more money for people who are trying to sell. So, what do? Well, they dress up their financials. Or as I like to call it, they do some financial engineering. Hey guys, if you like our work at FinShots, do consider checking out Ditto. Ditto is our sister company and they are trying to make insurance simpler for people like you and me. If you're thinking of reviewing your insurance needs, why don't you book a free call with Ditto Insurance's IRDAI certified advisors? The link is in the description. Let me show you what it looks like. Take the case of Urban Company, India's largest home services platform. Salon at home, AC repair, plumbers, electricians, you've probably used their services as well. In FY24, Urban Company reported a loss of 93 crores. Not great for an IPO, right? But in FY25, the year they were preparing to go public, something magical happened. They reported a profit of 240 crore rupees, a massive turnaround. Loss-making company becomes profitable in just a single year. Perfect timing, right? Because their IPO was also around. Headlines were everywhere that Urban Company turns profitable ahead of its IPO. Investors got excited. The IPO got oversubscribed over 103 times. But here's what those headlines didn't tell you. Of that 240 crore rupees, 211 crores came from a one-time deferred tax credit. That's not operational profit. That's an accounting adjustment. Strip that out and the actual profit before tax is just around 20 crore rupees. So the company that looked like it made 240 crores actually only made around 20 crores from running its business. That's around 88% of the profit coming from a one-time accounting entry. But it gets better. The IPO happened in September 2025. The stock listed at a 57% premium. Everyone celebrated. Then came its first quarterly results after listing. In Q2 FY26, the company reported net loss of 59.33 crores. Let me say it again. The quarter before the IPO, profit. The quarter after the IPO, 59 crores in loss. The loss widened 32 times compared to the same quarter last year. Another example is Honasa Consumer. You know them as Mamaearth. Listed in November 2023 at 330 rupees. It was celebrated as India's first profitable D2C beauty company going for an IPO. The stock peaked at 547 rupees. Everyone thought that this was the future of Indian consumer brands. Then reality hit. In Q2 FY25, revenue fell 6.9%. The company slipped into a 19 crore rupee loss versus a 29 crore rupees profit just before their IPO. Distributors started complaining about 300 crores worth of unsold inventory piling up in their warehouses. And here's the thing, Mamaearth was spending 31% of its revenue on advertising. The industry standard is around 8 to 15%. They were basically burning money to show growth before the IPO. Once they went public, reality caught up. Today, Mamaearth trades at around 262 rupees. That's 39% below its listing price, 52% below its peak. Again, coming to Ola Electric, same story. Before the IPO, the narrative was dominant EV brand, 90% revenue growth, future of Indian mobility. Q1 after listing, revenue crashed 50%. Losses widened to over 20%. Kotak degraded the stock to sell with a target of 30. That's 60% below the IPO price. But the most egregious case of them all is of Dronacharya. SEBI investigated the company and found that 35% of the FY24 revenue, which was around 12.35 crores, came from transactions with shell companies. Fake revenue, completely fabricated. Without those fake transactions, Dronacharya would have reported around 4 crores instead of 8 crores profit. But pre-IPO investors in Dronacharya made 90 crores in gains. The retail investors who bought based on those numbers, those fake financials, are stuck holding worthless stock. Now, you might be thinking, okay, some companies cook up their books, but surely there's oversight. Surely SEBI catches these things before retail investors get hurt, right? Well, that's true. SEBI is quite vigilant in this case. But often, by the time anyone notices something, the damage has already been done. And there's even deeper problems. Information asymmetry. Insiders have information that retail investors don't have. They know what to buy, when to buy. They know when to sell. And by the time the IPO opens to the public, the smart money has already positioned itself. Anchor investors are an example of this. These are large institutions that get to buy shares before the IPO opens at the IPO price. They're supposed to signal confidence in the issue. But here's what actually ends up happening. Many anchor investors dump their shares the moment the lock-in period expires. SEBI data shows that in 2021, 76% of stocks fell when anchor investors' lock-in expired. Now you might ask, if IPOs are such a bad deal for retail investors, why do people keep applying? Well, it's just because how the whole machine hypes it up. There's an entire ecosystem designed to make you excited about IPOs. First, there's the GMP, or the grey market premium. Before an IPO lists, there's an unofficial market where people trade IPO applications. If the GMP is high, it signals strong demand. Retail investors see this and think this would be easy money for me. But here's the thing, GMP can be manipulated. Operators can artificially inflate it, and because it's unregulated, there's no accountability. Then there are finfluencers. Mohak Mangal recently revealed in a video that he was approached by the team of PhysicsWallah to make a video on the company right before they went for an IPO. And these finfluencers aren't doing this for free. Top influencers charge anywhere between 10 lakh to 15 lakh for a single video. Some can even charge up to 1 crore for annually building up videos around the stock. Even brokerages can get into partnerships with companies. 62% retail investors say that influencer recommendations were a part of their investment thesis. And the thing is, many influencers' content is also in regional languages like Hindi, Kannada, Telugu. They are trying to target the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. First-time investors who don't know any better. And the result is a perfect machine for transferring money from the uninformed retail investors to sophisticated institutional players. The game is rigged, and retail investors are the product. Now, if you're thinking, is this actually new? Well, the answer is no. Remember the 2021 IPO boom? Let me remind you what happened then. Paytm, India's largest IPO ever, which went out for 18,300 crores, listed at 9% below its issue price. Nykaa listed at an 82% premium. Everyone celebrated it, and today it's 76% down its IPO price. Cartrade, 100% OFS IPO. Pure exit, zero fresh capital, and the market cap fell from 72 billion to 23 billion. $50 billion of wealth destroyed. Policybazaar, Delhivery, all underwater from their IPO prices. The total wealth destruction in just the top 5 new age IPOs was over 3.5 lakh crore rupees. Only Zomato survived, that too after crashing 50% to 40 rupees before recovering. One success out of others is not really a win rate. It's a warning. There are red flags that you have to pay attention to. High OFS, no profitability, crazy valuations, founders selling instead of buying. These are all factors that you need to keep in mind before investing in IPOs. What's your take on this? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to FinShots TV for more.